The Mets have a major problem. This is bad. Well, the Mets dropped both games of their doubleheader today versus the Orioles 3-1 in Game 1 and 7-3 in Game 2. We'll dive in on something that's been plaguing the team literally all season. They have been very, very consistent in this area, and it's not a place where you want your team to be consistent. I'm Adam Choit, your host for today on Mets Digest. And before we dig in on today's topic, I just want to give you guys a heads up that nearly 68% of you guys watching these videos are not subscribed, so please click subscribe. That's definitely appreciated. Nearly 70% actually. So please click subscribe. We appreciate it here at Mets Digest. So let's get into today's topic. The Mets did not have a great day today. They got swept in a doubleheader. It was an ugly couple of games down in Baltimore. The weather held up, but the games for the Mets were not good. Not good at all. Let's dive into it here. Here's from Laura Albanese of Newsday. The Mets dropped the nightcap of the doubleheader, 7-3 to the last place Orioles. They lost Game 1, 3-1. Combined, they went 2 for 19 with runners in scoring position and left 14 men on base. That's definitely been something that's been plaguing this team all season and something that's been discussed endlessly here on this channel and all other Mets outlets. They have a 20-27 record away from City and are 2-10 over their last 12 road games, and that is something we are going to dive deep on today. Here's the latest look at the standings for the Mets. As you can see, a game and a half out of first. Not necessarily a tragedy, but just look at those home and road splits, and that's what I want to dive into is those home and road splits and what's causing it. Why is it happening? Why are they being so consistently inconsistent and worse than that, mediocre and just straight bad on the road? 33-14 at home and 20-27 on the road. That is just not good at all. Even last year, they finished one game over 500 on the road, but that is something that caught up to them eventually because they did not have home field advantage against the Dodgers in the playoffs in the NLCS, and that cost them in some regard losing Game 6 on the road. Maybe things would have been different if the Mets had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So that's something that the team definitely should focus more on as they move forward this year, is improving on the road. Let's dig into some of the other news related to the Mets. Some things that are not particularly great to see for the team. Well, this is a good thing, is that Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea are scheduled for a return to the mound with the Mets this weekend, lessening the likelihood that the team will have to endure the kind of sloppiness that defined Thursday evening. Brandon Waddell and Justin Hagenman were utilized in a piggyback pitching appearance for Game 2 of a doubleheader, and neither had nearly enough success recording outs in a 7-3 loss to the Orioles at Camden Yards. That beatdown occurred hours after David Peterson pitched superbly into the 8th, but watched Ryan Stanek blow the save in a 3-1 loss in Game 1. Game 1 included a potential Mets casualty. Jesse Winker was removed after his first at-bat with back tightness. Only 2 days removed from his return from the injured list following an oblique strain, Winker returned to New York for an MRI exam. That is not ideal. You don't want to lose Winker just after him returning, but at least the Mets are getting a couple of pitchers back. That is definitely something that is good to see for sure. Oop, there we go. It's good to see that the Mets are getting Senga and Manaea back. But I wanted to talk about the pulling Peterson after 90 pitches thing, because that was something that definitely got some backlash from both fans online and the media following the game. Definitely a questionable move by Carlos Mendoza, pulling Peterson after him pitching quite well with the reasonable pitch count, 90 pitches, bringing in Stanek, who has been pitching quite well lately too. But one would think that the best move would have been to stick with Peterson in that situation, with him pitching so well, having the manageable pitch count. But Mendoza has to live with his decision now, and it is what it is, and the team will just have to move on from these couple of losses today and hopefully bounce back in Kansas City. Carlos Mendoza removed Peterson. Here's Carlos Mendoza talking about that move. Carlos Mendoza removed Peterson at 90 pitches after he surrendered a leadoff single to Cowser in the 8th. And disaster followed. Stanek fell behind 2-1 to the pinch hitter Gunnar Henderson, who unloaded for his 11th homer of the season. Stanek proceeded to walk the bases loaded before Ramon Laureano's sacrifice fly gave the Orioles an insurance run. Mendoza added that he felt better with the idea of Stanek facing the Orioles lefty pinch hitters, and Peterson against right-handers. These couple of quotes were from Mike Puma of the New York Post, by the way. That move did not work. Carlos Mendoza. So oh well. What I wanted to dig into was this right here, because these are the Mets pitching splits, the road splits. If you notice there are, I think, 36 names there. 35 if you want to separate Travis Jankowski from there. He's on there as well. He actually has a lower road ERA than Colin Poche, for whatever that's worth to you. But yeah, the Mets pitching on the road has been slightly worse, if not more than that, compared to their home splits. Even Peterson himself, was just named an All-Star, he's a little bit higher on the road. You see the 1.14 WHIP, the 4.44 ERA for Peterson on the road. McGill, when he's been out there, healthy, when he's been pitching, his road ERA is not good either. 4.76. A lot of these names you see here towards the bottom in terms of these higher ERAs are really just dudes filling in, Montas aside. But these innings all add up, and these games all add up, and the Mets just seem like a team, for whatever reason, that they just find ways to lose on the road, whether it's bad defense, whether it's untimely hitting, lack of runners in scoring position, inconsistent pitching, slightly less quality in terms of the pitching on the road versus home. Is it the beds? Do they like sleeping in their own beds? Do they like the food at home? Do they like being home with their families? Not sure what the issue is, but this is something that definitely needs to be cleaned up. The Mets want to have success moving forward this season. The road performances need to be better. These are the hitting stats for the Mets. Also worth looking at in terms of the home road splits. These are the road splits we're looking at right now, and you can see pretty much everyone on the team is, other than Soto and Alonso, and Brandon Nimmo as well, below where their overall numbers are and below where their home numbers are. Just look at this: Marte, Taylor, Acuna, Lindor. Lindor's the big one, eating up Lindor and Vientos. That's over. That's that's a lot of at bats. 175 at bats for Lindor and 117 for Vientos and Beatty. That's a 507 OPS on the road for Beatty. A 538 for Vientos and 630 for Lindor. This is not good. Not good. So it's really, the Mets have lost on the road as a team, whether it's the pitching, whether it's the hitting, whether it's the defense, whether it's not sleeping in their home beds, whatever the case may be. It definitely needs to turn around soon. But what do you guys think? Can the Mets turn it around on the road? What can they do to turn it around on the road? Will you have more confidence in them on the road if they're able to take a couple from Kansas City this weekend with a couple of pitchers coming back from injury? But let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and let's go Mets.